Hey Rebel Rouser, I'm Alan Boylott and this is Star Wars 7x7, your daily dose of Star Wars joy, and thank you so much for joining me for it. So the opening of the Empire magazine piece on the Acolyte describes it as a Star Wars samurai series, and it's been widely reported in other places that Leslie Headland's pitch for the series was Kill Bill meets Frozen. So yes, you've got the sisters, you've got the action, and as Leslie Headland says in this article, what is an action sequence if not a musical number? And of course, Frozen is a musical too. So already I'm very happy about where this is going. It just sounds so ridiculously fun. We are going to be focusing, according to this, on the female villain leads, and that's plural actually, but we don't necessarily have them specifically identified. And according to the article, we don't yet know who the quote-unquote big bad person is going to be. What we do know is that a former Padawan is going to be reuniting with their master, and it's to investigate a series of mysterious crimes. And Leslie Headland describes this as a mystery thriller that reflects our own world. And she talks in the article about how we're in a really interesting time where everybody thinks that they're right, regardless of where they are on the spectrum of anything. But one of the interesting things about the prequels is that George Lucas said that essentially the Jedi were wrong in The Phantom Menace, that they just did not see the dark force that was rising amongst them. And so part of the series' goals, or one of the series' goals, I guess I should say, is to answer the question, how is it that the Sith came to rise into such power and influence in the Republic without anybody batting an eye, without anybody realizing it? And aside from those things, there's not really a heck of a lot that's new in the article. There's a reference to Carrie-Anne Moss and that she's reportedly a Jedi, but it's not confirmed. There's a bit about Manny Jacinto, who says that he's just a regular guy who just wants to have a good time and gets caught up in this whole High Republic situation, whether he likes it or not. Jodie Turner-Smith has said that they're playing a Force-using character, but neither Jedi nor Sith, so an aligned Force user, but, you know, somebody's going to be good or evil, so we'll have to find out about that. But I think that's also something that we already knew back from Celebration anyway. And then, of course, one of the biggest bits of news from Celebration was the fact that Vernestra Rwoh, who is a beloved character from Phase 1 and who will be appearing in Phase 3 of High Republic storytelling, is also appearing in The Acolyte. This is the first character that we know of that has already appeared in High Republic storytelling who will make the jump to live action. In the article, she's described as an elder Jedi Master, and so yes, that's raised a bunch of questions about how old she could possibly be and whether her species, the Miralians, if I'm pronouncing that right, how long they normally live and whether being a Jedi allows them to live longer, and previous announcements about the Acolyte taking place at the end of the High Republic era, but possibly maybe it's going a little further back in time, still within the High Republic era, but not necessarily at the end of it. And the last thing I want to flag, which is, you know, a wonderful thing to flag also in Pride Month as well, is Leslie Headland saying that as a queer filmmaker, you're going to see some camp in the series. Inevitably, that's the word she uses, inevitably, but she also says tonally the references are darker, but I gotta say, I'm all in for the camp as well. And so, yeah, I think The Acolyte is a really exciting series coming up, and yes, I'm jazzed for Ahsoka, but I think I'm equally excited for The Acolyte, and I cannot wait for you to be able to see the footage of it. If you didn't get a chance to see the Celebration footage in person, if you haven't stumbled across any pirated footage or anything like that, well, you will be in for a treat when it finally gets out there. And that is going to do it for this episode of the podcast. It just remains for me to say thank you so much for joining me for it, as always, and may the Force be with you, wherever in the world you may be.
Star Wars 7x7 is not endorsed or sponsored yet by Lucasfilm Limited, Disney, or 20th Century Fox, and is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Star Wars, the Star Wars logo, all names and pictures of Star Wars characters, vehicles, and any other Star Wars-related items are registered trademarks and/or copyrights of Lucasfilm Limited, or their respective trademark and copyright holders. May the Force be with them. All original content is copyrighted by Star Wars 7x7. We hope you love it.